I was scrolling through a Facebook group for flat earth debates. Don't judge me, it's like digital people watching. When I came across a guy named Jack. Jack was in his mid-40s, with a profile picture of himself wearing a tinfoil hat as a joke, and he had commented on a thread about global elites controlling the masses, and his tone wasn't hostile or ranty. It was playful, almost inviting, as if to say, "Come join me down the rabbit hole." I messaged him out of curiosity, and soon we were chatting. Jack admitted he didn't actually believe the Earth was flat, but he found conspiracy theories fascinating. For me, he said, it's not about believing every rumor, it's about the patterns. Once you start looking at them, the dots start connecting themselves. Jack had a knack for storytelling, so I just let him go. He started with a headline I vaguely remembered: Billionaires buy up farmland. Across the U.S., a sign of things to come. This is step one, Jack explained. If you control food, you control people. Look at Bill Gates buying hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland. They say it's for sustainable agriculture, but what happens if they decide to ration food for climate reasons? Suddenly, you're dependent on the elites for survival. He moved into vaccines. Okay, hear me out, he began, sensing my skepticism. I'm not saying vaccines are bad, but think about how they were rolled out globally, all at once. What if they weren't just about public health, but also about data collection or population management? Remember that TED Talk where Bill Gates mentioned reducing population growth through healthcare? People ran with that one. Jack pulled up another article. UN report warns of resource scarcity by 2050, a crisis in the making. Why do you think the elites are so obsessed with carbon footprints and climate change? Jack asked. Because they know the planet can't support 8 billion people forever. They're thinking long-term. Fewer people means fewer resource demands. Jack leaned into his webcam and whispered like he was revealing state secrets. Here's the big one. They don't need all of us anymore. With AI and automation, most jobs will be obsolete, so why keep feeding billions when a few hundred million are enough to maintain the system? The pandemic was like a trial run for control. Lockdowns, compliance, digital tracking. What's next? He brought up an eerie headline. The Great Reset. A conspiracy or a vision for the future. Ever heard of the World Economic Forum? They're not even hiding it anymore. Klaus Schwab literally said, "You'll own nothing and you'll be happy." That's the endgame. Keep us distracted, dependent, and docile. Despite all this, Jack wasn't all doom and gloom. The thing about the elites is, they're a small group, he said. If enough of us wake up, their plans fall apart. Here's what we can do. Support local farms, businesses, and communities. The less you depend on global supply chains, the harder it is for them to control you. Read history, learn about past attempts at population control, like forced sterilization programs. Knowledge is power. Cryptocurrency is a big one. If we move away from centralized banks, they lose a huge amount of leverage. Learn survival skills, gardening, first aid, even bartering. If you can live off the grid, their system doesn't work on you. Jack was adamant that mainstream media is part of the problem. Every major news network is owned by a handful of corporations. They shape narratives to keep us divided, left versus right, rich versus poor. While the real decisions happen behind closed doors, they distract us with celebrity scandals and outrage cycles while the planet's future is decided. By the end of our chat, I wasn't fully convinced, but Jack's passion was contagious. His theories were like puzzle pieces that fit together, just enough to make you wonder if there was more to the picture. He left me with a final thought. Believing or not believing isn't the point. It's about asking questions. If the dots connect, great. If they don't, you've still learned something. Jack might just be another guy on the internet, but his theories are a reminder to stay curious and critical. Even if the dots don't all connect, it's worth looking at the picture they form.